now we're going to learn how to shift from projects to feedback-based product development. Krisztina Hirth.
Thank you. So this my first session as having a talk. So please handle me with care. Welcome everybody to listening to my experience about collected in the last 20 years about what is going well and what is going less well in product development, and how we can transform this exhausting, stressful work in something wonderful, enjoyable, and fulfilling. Let me present you Waza. If there was one project in time which should have been a perfect project, then it is this. It was ordered by one of the biggest, most successful kings of Sweden, so money wasn't a problem. It was built by specialized expert teams, external teams of course, in less than 2 years. So deadline was achieved. The ship, you see it looks wonderful. They observed towards the end that there might some dimensional issues with the ship, but the king said, hey, it is the greatest thing ever, just release it. And they did. The ship survived 1,300 meters. It sank 120 meters from the shore, and a lot of people die. So, projects. We expect, this is an example for having everything in place. But reality is not like how we want it to have it. To know a bit about me, this is the least important slide here. It's just for later if you want to connect me. The one important part is maybe that I am a developer by heart. So I enjoy this thing called web since 20 years. And at the moment, I'm staff architect at Payfit, a French company. If I ask you about your daily work, what is your first thought, what you get in mind? Because mine is expectations. Everybody has expectations, company managers, stakeholders, investors, and we ourselves have expectations. It doesn't matter if we are business experts, product managers, designers, developers, we all have expectations and share a common thing. We think if we have a good goal, a precise goal, we can create a plan and follow the actions, and it will work out, because this is why we do it. Reality is often like this. And I think for the nerds here, this is a really cool joke. But for everybody else involved in product development, it is not really funny. They are hurt by this. But this happens if we have rigid plans based on estimations or promises, and we expect that they work out. There are more serious examples, like this one. This was the first lawsuit against the programmer. I think it was before Volkswagen. And it was against the programmer, because the Citibank lost at the end $500 million. This is more than just having a funny glass. The Citibank sued the programmer because he created the wrong program. Beside this terrible UI, everybody agreed this is terrible, but this is wasn't the issue. This feature was used to transfer money. And even if Citibank had a manual process to cover the lacks of what the program would do, this rule of 6 eyes, it failed. Because 3 very experienced bank employees confirmed these transactions. So it is not even the problem that it is wrongly programmed or wrong specification given, but they assumed all something completely different as what the software is doing. And this is what we are living today. This happens all the time. We give people some applications to use, and we assume that they think they know what it does, but it is not always the case. Is this something that you can relate to? This is what we do. We consider product development as project development. We are talking about projects. I hear the word project all the time here and everywhere. We start a new project, and we expect that it ends. We have very clear phases. We have one phase of having an idea and splitting it in small parts and putting it in a full backlog. Then we throw all this to the designers. They should do all the mockups. Then we get some information, and usually we get an OK from external departments without involving them in discussion. We just throw them the idea and expect that they say yes or no. Then we throw all this to the developers and make them implement it, everything. And then we test it somehow to confirm our expectations and release it to the users. And that's it, use it. This is, for me, a micro waterfall. We are really great. If we are great, then we can have now, we know exactly how big this micro is, in opposite to microservices. If we are good, we can have 50 micro waterfalls in a year. So great achievement. But we are not doing anything feedback-based. We are not really agile in what we are not changing our mind. We have an idea there at the beginning. And additionally to this rigid process, we spend so much time at the beginning creating the backlog, creating all the mockups, that we don't have any time later. We just take ourselves the ability to challenge these ideas. We don't have time for it. We need to finish now because the deadline is coming. We succeeded in the last decades to to make our software development part perfect. We measure every movement, every technical touch. We are really very good in doing the probably or eventually wrong thing right. But we stopped at some point, or never started, asking what is the right thing. And we are not courageous enough to do it wrong, just to make it sure that it is the right thing. And this is what I want to share today. We don't. This is not. It does not need to be like this. There are methods. We live in such times. We have everything what we need to transform this stressy assembly line working in something fulfilling, something which gives us joy. Because product development, and I use this word all the time, it is not just software development. A product is much more, the software part, we are really good at it at the moment, or in the meantime. But the rest, we need to improve now the rest and to see it as a whole. Product development is much more than the small station on the assembly line called software development. And this is my first challenge to this current way of producing a product. Earlier, when we automated things, when we automated S-type problems, I learned that yesterday, this term, we knew exactly what manual part we want to automate, so we knew exactly what are the requirements. And it worked great. You could create a list of requirements, and you just transformed the small manual part in something done by machines. This is great. But we are not there anymore. This changed since we have apps, since we have applications. Now we don't automate things, we create completely new experiences. So we should stop thinking that we know exactly the final goal, because we don't. All this is a social interaction. We don't know how humans react. We don't know how often you hear the customers are using our product wrong. This is the confirmation. No, we built that product wrong. We forced them to do something, but they want exactly something different. They don't buy and don't pay our products and our jobs because we want them to. They want to get their jobs done. So why don't we start getting feedback from them and getting feedback from their behavior to find out how to help them get their jobs done? For this, I observed in the last years 3 components which help doing exactly this, achieving exactly this. Optimizing for learning, measuring the outcome, and preparing for the change. Let me start with the first one. What do I mean here? A few years ago, I worked for a software company, and I have chosen this experience because probably at the end, some of you will say, oh, but we are in a software house, we just do projects. It is this situation, this story, what I will tell you, happened in a software house. My only 2 years in my career working for a company just delivering software and not owning a product. And it is valid for them too. So we were a small team of 5 people, new team. I joined a few months before, and our main client was a travel industry, a huge travel industry, and we were ordered to create them a checkout process for multi-country checkout process. This was shortly before the pandemic has broken out, and in March, when this started, the pandemic, they got the idea we need to add an insurance policy. We want to add an insurance policy to this checkout process, so that travelers, in March is a high time for travel booking, so travelers are more happily book travels. And this whole insurance thing started exactly like this. We get a Jira story saying, can you please add 2 checkboxes to the checkout process to choose an insurance policy? And we are at the DDD conference, so I hope you would have reacted just like me. All the red lights went on. Insurance as a modeled by 2 checkboxes in a travel industry, this is surely much, much more. This is such a foreign domain. This is completely different. Insurance won't be solved with 2 checkboxes. This can't be all. So instead of saying, yeah, sure, or no, let's say, yeah, sure, can you tell us more? And we started, the business partner was happy that we asked, and we just followed requirements. So he was happily agreed to have some meetings, and actually what we did were the first domain discovery workshops without telling him that it is a name. So we had some event stormings, we have a lot of discussion about what he knows about insurances, what is for him an insurance, so discovering the language, discovering the domain model. We were crunching the domain model, and it went great, because what we realized after the first workshop, that none of us knows anything about insurances. We are in the middle of a pandemic. We don't know what this is, when it ends. So we just we don't know how the customers will react, so we just try to get something valuable for the company and for the customers and for us without. We can't sit 6 months and find this out because it takes too long. A pandemic, again, we don't know when it ends. So, and the travel company needs to learn too, needs to find out, they didn't exactly know with which insurance company they will work together and so on. So it was a perfect situation, and the people were the right ones acknowledging this. We don't know anything. And it would be just stupid to put 2 checkboxes there, and then what happens? So we agreed without changing any existing processes. We just changed our mindset. We agreed that we will experiment. And our milestones are moments when we can learn. And we transformed everything what we did, transformed it in the idea to learn something. It disappeared. Cool. So we agreed that we don't need any mockups, because for what? We just added we agreed on which step in this checkout process to put these questions. Okay, would you like to have an insurance policy or not? We agreed that we think about future architecture, but we wait because it's too early to discuss it. We agreed that we don't need any full backlog, because what to put in this backlog, we don't know what is the next step after the next step. So we will work only for short-term steps and make those steps good enough to learn, to find out. We added metrics, inbuilt metrics to see how people react, how they move on the slides, in the process. And this led to a completely different feeling of working. Our team, all of us, we were in the same boat. All these questions were not a tech or design or product question, it was our common question. And we were all eager to make it fast, but make it good enough and to learn. What we didn't know, we followed actually exactly this pattern. I think the name exists since 1 year, but actually this is what we did, but applied not only for software, applied for everything. It was a walking skeleton, our first ideas of a model, our first ideas of this insurance policy, how often it changed, what is it at all, what kind of properties it has, what kind of software capabilities it will need at some point, and what kind of flows do we need to offer to the users. So what happens if they choose A or if they choose B, or if they don't choose, or change something in the meantime. So we created just a very rough plan and make the first next steps very clear. And this wasn't everything. We also agreed implicitly that our software delivery expertise needs to improve. Our team was very diverse. 5 people, 3 seniors, 2 juniors. One of them, me, I worked only in product companies. Others worked only in software houses. Some of us had experience with both. Some of us were addicted to trunk-based development. Others Git flows and everything. So as diverse as it gets, but we had a common goal. We didn't want to fail, and we wanted to produce value, to see that we evolve. So we also learned as a team. We learned that people working with Git flows have this idea, oh, I can't put not ready code in production. But in this case, the code was never ready because we had no idea what is ready. The problem was solved. There is no information about ready. So if you are afraid, it is totally fine. We started to use feature toggles. And by using feature toggles, nothing can happen if you are doing it well. So we learned to doing it disciplined and not put ifs everywhere in the code. But the 2 principles for using feature toggles well is you have exactly one part, which covers the whole alternative part. And by learning this, our team learned every day. We learned that we can go this way, we can do very small steps, but for this we must have a hard-proved pipeline so that we can deliver fast and recover fast. Then we can do everything. And this was one of, now when I think about this, was I think one of our key keys to success. Our software, our knowledge about the software, including the product manager, including the business expert, is part of the same product. If someone tells you, here is a Jira ticket, I need a login, then they should know what that is. What do you mean with login? When, where, who, in which conditions? So it is the technological solution is not a tech thing anymore, because I should not ask somebody to give me something and I have no idea about this. So we taught our product manager what is authentication, not the whole details, because he does not care about the whole details, but he should understand what this means. And we learned what are insurance details. So the learning is on both sides, and our technology part belongs to the product, is not a tech thing. We can offer the greatest experience if our servers are down every second day. There is no experience. It's even worse. When so now I hope you know what I mean with really optimizing for learning. Learning is not just learning about the domain, learning about the business, learning about the requirements, because we designed the requirements ourselves, but learning about the capability to deliver reliable and fast. You saw that working skeleton idea, and that works well if we can really measure that we are going in the right direction. because we can do small steps and going in the totally wrong direction. It would not help. We still need to make sure that it is in the right direction. So the second key is measuring the outcome. And this word outcome, a lot of people are talking about it, but in the reality, I see usually output or some fuzzy things, because this is really hard. How the hell we measure outcome, how you measure it. And a few weeks ago, we had a virtual open space, virtual DDD open space, and after discussion about system thinking, and after discussion with Diana, who's writing a book about system thinking, I realized, and we agreed on this definition, that measuring outcome is measuring the change in the system. So if we create the greatest insurance, whatever, offer, but the users are just ignoring it. They don't change their behavior. They don't react at all, then we didn't change the system. We invested 2 weeks or 2 months or some, I don't know how much time in something which didn't have any outcome. We had output a lot, but we didn't achieve anything. We didn't achieve what we wanted. And at the same time, we could just switch 2 steps in a flow, and if this switch done in 5 minutes, and that the user are much faster, they finish, they got to get their problem solved much faster, we created a huge outcome with a very low effort. So effort and outcome and output are not directly correlated. Only if you're doing the thing right, then they are correlated, the right thing. This kind of metrics are driving me crazy because it is nothing. What does it mean? How many of you is on the left and how many on the right? It does not say anything. It could be great because finally we get that code deleted, or it could be Elon Musk deleting some services. It is not helpful. We just have no idea. Measuring lines of code in any way, it is just stupid. Measuring number of features is just stupid. I split that feature in 2, and then I have twice so many features. It is not helpful. So in our small, very diverse team, we had this kind of inbuilt thing because technology gives you this. It is given, but we didn't care about them. We were looking for something totally different. So we started to measure number of tests failing on each environment. And each environment is important here, because if it fails on integration, it means you probably missed some unit tests. And you go back and just do them, and then your next batch is fine. If it fails in pre-production, before going directly in production, then it is a much harder issue, because you probably have a hidden configuration dependency, which you don't see, which you see only when you're out in the wild. So this is something, a lack in the design. It is harder to fix. But the main point is it is important to see them different. It's not the same. Just number of tests is not in the context. The context is much more important. Time to recovery after integration is about our working as a team. If someone breaks the integration environment and says, oh, it's just integration, it is never stable, this is not okay. Because then we lose an opportunity to learn, because that same error would happen on the next environment too. So integration is not just integration. It blocks other people from work. And it could be also a cry for help. I don't know how to solve it. Look, I did it, this is my best, and I still don't, I broke integration because I did something wrong. Come and help. So this time of recovery is actually time for asking for help, or time to knowing exactly what was the mistake, so that I can fix it in 10 minutes. I don't need to roll back, or I don't need anything else. This is a great signal about how the team respects each other and how the team works together. Number of bugs combined with time to recovery. This is feature flagging. How good we are in using feature flags. If we release something to production, then we should be able, with one click, to test it with enabling this feature, and then disabling it if it is wrong. So the bug is actually, we know about it, but nobody else. It does not have any impact on the users because we are able to disable it. And this is, getting with time to recovery, this is most important. If we have a bug for 5 seconds, it does not mean anything compared to an incident of 1 day. This is a huge difference. It is not just number. And time to delivery was actually, the important part is here, the separation of delivery and release. We wanted to go as fast as we can without being blocked or stopped by our business client, and we didn't want to make them stressed either. We didn't want just to push something out which we said is our next iteration, but not his next iteration. So we separated the delivery from release with the feature flags, and even more important, we taught them and we showed them, explained them how to release themselves. So they were self-organized, self-autonomous. They could release when they want, how they want. Didn't need us. So they were totally empowered to work alone without depending on some engineers. Having these metrics, these practices, we observed a lot of cool changes and this happiness and fulfillment. We observed a continuous improvement in working as a team because nobody forced his or her opinion on the others. We tried to work we intended to work as one team. This was actually our only common thing, that we either fail or succeed as a team. And this continuous improvement was seen every day. Everybody was observing this. Another very interesting point, our business client was used to, and our product manager before too, to have some story points and estimations. And we didn't want to argue, so we gave them some numbers because why not? But we didn't care. What we really cared for is really our understanding what we are committing for. So we ignored the numbers, we refused to talk any mathematical discussions. We committed for parts, for steps. And they have seen that we really deliver those steps. And after they've seen that we are reliable and we do what we say, and we are very transparent if something is not happening how we want to, they stopped asking for story points. It disappeared by itself without huge convincing discussion, without theoretical thing. They just stopped, they ignored them. This was one of the biggest successes, because this is a very annoying thing. Increasing confidence and happiness during work. This was also this using of feature flags, this fear, inbuilt fear in people who always work like this. I can't put my code on production before it's not complete. It disappeared because they understood, oh, okay, it will never be complete. We don't know what is complete. We just know that it should not introduce bugs. And if we introduce bugs, we are able to fix them because we see them instantly. And what we also did without being asked for, adding business metrics for each new feature to find out if it is used at all. We had some discussions about some new ideas what the business partner had, and we haven't agreed if it is important to make the experience more complex because it asks the customer to choose something. We make the customer to decide something which they probably didn't want. So we just added some business metrics for measuring these metrics to be able to come back in a month and say, look, nobody uses this. Nobody uses this drop-down. We don't need it. We can remove it and keep it with one value, and because nobody cares. And it makes the experience too complex. These parts were what we ignored. So lines of code, of course, is given. And this technology gives you is out of the box. Speed of software development, no idea what it is. What we observed, what we did is really talking each morning and in the afternoon. In the afternoon, we met if someone has something to ask, or we just wanted to rant, or we just wanted to be happy and proud about what we did. But speed of software development does not make any sense. Code coverage has, it turned out it has only one meaning. If it is 0, then it is a problem. Everything else, you can fake 100% of testing, and it does not test anything. So 0 is an issue. Everything else is not interesting anymore. And local progress of one service. So local optimization. It does not help the whole product. If it does not mean that the whole product is better, then how one single part of this product works or moves, it is not relevant. It is relevant how is the whole product evolving. And after all this, I can say I learned to like metrics, to love metrics. If they are not misused, they can be great help, because they can validate the goal. If a goal is not expressible in a measurement, then it might be the greatest goal, like peace on earth. But how the hell can we get there? How we know that we are going towards that goal and not in an opposite direction? So in product development, I think it's really important to be able to have a goal which can be measurable. Validate the user as the primary benefit. I don't know for you, but for me, it happened several times that someone has chosen a decision, make a decision because they want to. Because I always want to use Kubernetes. No, I end to rant about Kubernetes. It's not Kubernetes. I always wanted to use serverless because these are the only valid solutions. This is just bad. How can this argument help a user? They just don't give a shit if it's serverless or not. They want something reliable. So if your serverless solution is fitting to the problem, then it's fine. But it can't be a goal. It can be a measurement. Confirm the direction. This is what I said about the goal. So we really need to be able, and this is essential, that it is from the beginning on. We have some kind of means to confirm that we are going into the right direction. Otherwise, we are again in some presumed goal, presumed direction, which turns out too late that it is the wrong one. And the part of the teamwork belongs to this. Again, we can work 6 months to have a user research, then create the greatest designs ever. But if it takes 2 years to put it in production, it is 1 year and 9 months too late. Our time, our world nowadays does not allow this. So really, we need to work as a team, and we need to get our teamwork good. And then we will have fun, and we will see how we impact our product and how we produce value every day. Now you have you saw what I mean with the first 2 elements, and now we are coming to the hard part. Even if I think there is only one universal truth in product development, this is change. Change will come, change happens every day. Users change, behavior change, the world changes, our company changes, we get a new boss. Changes happen all the time, new strategies. We are still really bad, I think, in handling it. We take it as an affront. They change the requirements. Surprise! This will happen. These are not even requirements. Forget the word requirements. This is your proposition to solve something. Of course it will change. You will learn something new. Of course it will change. So we need to get better in embracing the change. And for this, we need to prepare for it. And what exactly do we need for that? In my experience, we need 2 things. One is to have options, to not end in some deadlock where we can't get out anymore. In my 20 years, the most painful experiences were when we didn't get any option. We were forced to react and not to act. And the second thing is having a safety net, creating ourselves a safety net, not asking anybody else to have a safety net, to prepare us the safety net, but taking care that we have a safety net. We can roll back things. We can hide things. We can act before it is too late. So we are aware. We have these metrics. We have this feedback. We are aware when something starts to go south. And for this, we need, on purpose, intentionally, create a safety net. And having these two, we can control the change. And instead of feeling like new expectations and new requirements and stress, we will feel a joy and a fulfilling thing, because otherwise it would be boring. We can change something. We can try out new things. We can experiment with new things, and we can see if it will improve or it will make it worse. But it is not a scary thing anymore because we have our safety net. In this team with working on this travel checkout for travel, I told you we discussed a lot about insurances, and after a few weeks, the business partner came and asked, "Okay, now you will set up a new service, isn't it, with a new database and the whole stuff?" And I don't want to ask now, but I think most of you, or not most of you, a lot of you would have said, "Yeah, sure. What else? It is a new topic. It is a new domain. It's called insurance, so it can't work." Obvious decision. Well, we decided not to, because it is not obvious. We were in the pandemic. It was a new thing. They had no idea. It wasn't something known. They were experimenting with this idea. They wanted to offer it, but they needed to find the insurance companies. We were not there. What harm it makes if we don't waste so much time setting up a new service, creating so much code to maintain later, creating a database and a table structure. What kind of structure? We had no idea what this insurance policy is. So we decided we just fake that we have a new service, but actually we use the existing order service, and we create we apply discipline. We created a folder, called it insurance, and new routes and everything regarding insurance was in this separated code, but in the same service. Our first insurance policy was hard-coded as JSON, and it had 5 properties, and we changed it in, I don't know, in 6 or 7. We learned by this, we could show this JSON file without any database, without any IDE. Just look, this is how my policy looks like. How is your idea about policies? What would you see there? The only important part was to be disciplined, to not mix this thing, to have in the mind, our mental model was clear, insurance is not order, but we don't know what it is yet. So we went with this for 4 months. We won 4 months. Instead of creating the huge thing, we lived with this, and it was completely enough for 4 months. The other version would have been Yagni as it goes, because nobody cared about it. And after 4 months, we needed a half a day to extract the code, because we knew exactly what properties it have, how the routes needs to be done, what kind of APIs. Now we learned so much about these requirements or expectations that it took half a day. Our metric for speed of development would have been crazy, because in a half a day we did this, but it is false. We needed 4 months to learn this and to take this decision. And these are the overall points. So lean or good enough, it actually works very good. Nobody tells you you have to do all this. You have options. You have the option to create a service, but why do it? Maybe we won't have this insurance at all. So just create a good enough decision and make it transparent. This is also something what it worked very well. We explained this. We didn't decide it as developers, we do this and we don't tell anyone. We explained exactly the trade-offs and the consequences and said, now we go very fast and we just keep it like this. And at some point, yes, we will probably eventually need that service and the database, and it will take some time, but it is okay for you. And it was perfect. Of course, the client was extremely happy, and everybody was actually very okay with this. You must have realized that everything what I told you, it's nothing new. I didn't mention any new technology, technique, or method. It is really, the key is the different mindset. We are producing this, we are offering this product not because we want to use serverless, but because we want to produce an outcome. And this makes such a joy because we can be creative. I think there is no more creative industry than being in product development nowadays. We can do magic, but we need to see it differently. And instead of feeling it as a stress and expectations, we need to feel it as something, an opportunity to create something big. And these were the recipes of our success. So we included, we did everything collaboratively. We taught our product manager how to write behavior-driven development tests. And instead of talking about Jira stories and so on, he prepared this test. This was his preparation to our exchanges, to our refinements. He created a test. He was extremely happy when he succeeded to push his tests to his own repository. So it was just fun for everybody. We improved the product and the team practices. These are not to separate. These work together or fail together. Product and team practices belong to the same. We exchanged about options, and we were very honest about it, to not surprise anyone later saying, okay, now I need 3 months to rework something. And we delivered very often, but enabled our business clients and business partner and our product manager to release when they wish. These principles are also something what we use in software development, but actually these are not about software development. It is the same consistency. You want to have a consistent team. You want to be able to rely how the others react. So consistency in communication, in working as a team, in design, it's all the same. It's consistency. Forgiving and robust, not forcing everybody to deliver when we want to, or stopping us to deliver because the business is not, the business partner don't want to release yet, is making forgiving and robust. So we allowed options so that to make everybody happy. And this is not just valid for API design, but also for our products. We won't want to tell the user, you did something wrong. This just does not help. The user can't fix it. So make it a good experience for him. And observe you, because you did something wrong, not the user. And a very important part is that we are part of our system. It is not just a small station in this assembly line. It is not just software development. It has the whole ecosystem in it. And feeling as a part of a system make you being aware of this. I will slip this. I put these heuristics for the slides so that the slides are self-containing later. But I have another few. And maybe we continue here. So DDD, I didn't mention DDD, or not very, it wasn't very obvious. But this was also and is a key. Speaking the single language, ubiquitous language about insurances. How you see insurances, how you see what you know about authentication. Do you have an idea what this means? Do you have an idea what insurances means? This is exchanging, using the same language, making the effort to explain so that we can continuously collaboratively do these discoveries. Collaboration is really key. And and having this, we became, after a few months, a stable and self-organized team, because we made ourselves these conditions. We were very open, we were very collaborative. We said we don't want to be just a software team. We want to build a product, we want to improve this product. So it led to a feeling of, we can handle this. We have our safety net. We know exactly, we created ourselves options, so we are not in stress, we are not lost. We don't need anyone telling us what to do. We just need the whole team working together and exchanging on all topics. No silos, and there weren't anything what we didn't tell anyone else because it is too much or too less. The other person can say if it's too much. It's fine. But only this way we were able to reduce cognitive load, to not think on too much, to have a control of the situation. And this is how we became this very diverse team with very different mindset. We became a one strong autonomous team. Without having stable teams, by switching people between teams all the time, I think this group of people don't have the chance to know each other. So they don't have the chance to really trust each other. They won't have the psychological safety net because they can't. Today I work with you and tomorrow I work with someone else. I don't have time to learn how the person reacts in stress, how much he or she trusts me. It is not possible. So in order, if we want this, and this is the key to have a steady progressing improvement, and the speed that everybody's looking for is given if a team is happy to work together. And this is what happens if people have the chance to stay together, to have the same issues, to share the same pains. Then they can start trusting each other. They can learn as a group about the different needs of the domain, of the business, of the tech, and continuously improve without needing to learn yet another topic, yet another domain, yet another technology. And this is the way I'm really enjoying what you do every day, going happily to work or to Zoom or somewhere, and really being proud about every failure, about every success. So the question is, would you rather like 5 micro waterfall projects shipped very fast, but will probably sink, or rather go for something continuously built, slowly built, sure, but which will stay forever and you can enjoy it every time when you see it? Thank you.